There are 15 official mainline games, including DLCs, and one more game, Secret of the Mimic, in the works right now. I'm going to be ranking every single one of these games in this tier list today, so without further ado, let's get into it. Starting out strong with Five Nights at Freddy's 1, which was released 10 years ago. Oh my god, I feel so old. This game truly is the staple of the FNAF community, with our good boy Freddy Fazbear and the rest of the gang. One guy's also an icon in this game, but we don't need to talk about Night 4.
No. Oh no.
I love this game so much, and in my opinion, it's also one of the scariest FNAF games. It's not only scary, but the mechanics and lore and design of the pizzeria are also nostalgic and amazing to me. The custom night 420 mode also isn't too difficult, but still is a fun challenge. For these reasons, FNAF 1 obviously has to go in S tier. Now, I know FNAF 2 is a very beloved game in the FNAF community, but I'm not so sure I like it as much as some. The animatronics introduced in this game, such as the Wizards, Toys, Balloon Boy, and Puppet, are all so cool, and FNAF 2 genuinely has some of the best animatronics, and I will forever stand by that. My issue, though, is with the gameplay itself. Now, I would like to debate that FNAF 2 actually has one of the easiest nights 1 through 5, as I can usually beat it first try in my playthroughs, but it's missing something. FNAF 1's strategy allows players to not only beat the game fairly easily, but also explore the creepy and ominous camera angles throughout the pizzeria. This almost makes the game even scarier. FNAF 2, on the other hand, has such a strict strategy with the music box, and then the mask, and then flashlight, and then repeat, that you're not really able to see some of the cool and creepy cameras. This strict strategy also kind of takes you out of that ominous atmosphere that made FNAF 1 so cool. I think this game is fairly decent, but it really just didn't deliver the same way that FNAF 1 did, so for me, it's gonna go in B tier. FNAF 3. Now, please don't kill me for this one. Although I absolutely adore Springtrap, the storyline, the ending of the game, the mini-games, I hated the gameplay mechanics. I think the idea that there's only one animatronic that's able to kill you is cool, but it just didn't deliver. Let's just address the elephant in the room, or should I say, watermelon, the phantoms. I really hate the phantom animatronics. I think it's a cool idea that they're just hallucinations from the previous games, but they're kind of boring. There's nothing different or really unique about them. They're just reskins of the previous animatronics, and I really don't vibe with them. Jump scare noises are also my final straw. That screeching noise made me so mad in my playthroughs that I genuinely ended up turning down the volume. So yeah, although this game has its issues and makes me never want to play it again due to the gameplay mechanics, the story is still just so amazing, and Springtrap himself is as well. I mean, we find out who killed the kids, we get a physical animatronic for him, we also get to see the Springlock scene? Like, are you kidding me? If this tier list were based on the game's lore relevancy or their story, then this would easily jump to S tier. But since it's based on my personal enjoyment of the games, I'm gonna have to downgrade it to C tier. Now for FNAF 4, and I honestly love this game. It's a cool switch up from the original 3 games where you're no longer stationary and are instead moving around in your bedroom. It also removes the camera aspect, which the original 3 games were very heavily reliant on. Instead, this game has you rely on sound, which makes it 100 times more horrifying. I will say FNAF 3 definitely lacks in the horror and jump scare aspects, so switching from that to FNAF 4 is definitely something. FNAF 4 also has story cutscenes every night, which follow the crying child, or Chris, or Evan, or Dave. I don't even know anymore. Call him whatever you want. These all lead up to his birthday, where his older brother has him give Fredbear a kiss and gives us the bite of 87.
Was that the bite of 87?
The story of FNAF 4, along with the scary yet unique gameplay factors and characters, make me absolutely adore this game. It's also a more simple and fairly easy game once you understand the mechanics. The nightmares are amazing. Foxy's closet mechanic is amazing. The Freddles are amazing. The hospital Easter eggs are amazing. And there's not much else I can say about this game. S tier. Now, before I hear any of you guys screaming in the comments about how FNAF World technically isn't a mainline game because it's not canon, it originally was canon, so we're gonna go with it. Now, this game is definitely something. I think it's a really fun and whimsical game with some dark themes and secrets mixed in as well. I've honestly only ever beaten the main storyline of the game, but I have watched a bit of gameplay from other YouTubers on the rest. I just enjoyed the soundtracks and all the fun characters throughout a lot. Although it isn't your typical FNAF game, it has a bit of charm to it, and I love that. I'm gonna have to go with B tier. I think it's a solid game, but not necessarily the most fundamental one. Sister location? Oh, sister location. I don't even know where to start with this one. Each night has a completely different set of mechanics. Rather than the normal progression of the difficulty in the OG 4 games, the difficulty of sister location is completely dependent on the night. Night 4 is harder than night 5, which in theory makes no sense, but sister location is its own thing, I guess. The game is heavily story driven too. Not that the previous games aren't, but usually the story isn't as integrated into the gameplay, but rather told through mini-games or Easter eggs throughout. Sister location completely diverts from this, and Circus Baby, or Elizabeth Afton, talks to us and gives us lore and story clues through various in-game cutscenes and dialogue bits. We've also never had voice lines in a FNAF game really up until this point, excluding some bits of FNAF World obviously, and although a lot of the community hates sister location for the insane difficulty of Night 4 and the lack of replayability, I personally love it. The story, the gameplay, the voice lines, the fun times, the weird soap opera thing at the end of the nights, the soundtrack, and so much more are all so amazing to me. I love seeing the story unfold so clearly in these nights, and I love how immersed it makes you feel. The baby minigame, the blueprints as well. Heck, we even get a reveal on Purple Guy's name. The custom night in this game is also debatedly the best custom night we see in any of the games, aside from Ultimate Custom Night, of course. And all of these pieces coming together make me love sister location so much. Obviously, S tier. Pizzeria Simulator. Oh boy, have my opinions changed on this game so much. The last time I did a FNAF Games tier list, I ranked it second lowest, which is insane. I enjoyed Pizzeria Sim. I think if I played it more, I would enjoy it more because I've only beat like the main game. I haven't gone for all the other achievements, so I feel like if I did that, I would enjoy it a lot more. As of right now, I've completed every single ending and every achievement, and I love this game so much. The amount of lore and Easter egg drops in this game is actually beautiful. We got minigames such as Midnight Motorist, Fruity Maze, and Security Puppets, which have some insane lore. Oh my god. We also have a bunch of other fun minigames, and my personal favorites, Bloody Bart and Pissy Peter. Before you question my names for these silly clowns, I'm convinced Fazbear Entertainment doesn't have the budget for actual lemonade and fruit punch, so they resorted to other liquids. The soundtracks in this game are also some of my absolute favorites. Now, the nighttime segment, on the other hand, isn't exactly my favorite, but we should talk about it. Firstly, we're brought back into the theme of the original 3 games, where we're night guards stationed in one spot and using our monitors in order to survive the night. The only issue is this game is also noise reliant, and the animatronic mechanics in this game are confusing to say the least. Or maybe I'm just bad. I guess we'll never know. The salvaging segment, on the other hand, I absolutely love. I think it's so cool, and honestly, these salvages tend to scare me more than the actual nights themselves, which is a bit funny. Helpy is an amazing addition to this game as well, which, thinking on that, there are a ton of new animatronics in this game, such as the Scraps, Mediocre Melodies, Trash in the Gang, Rockstars, and so much more. Saving the best for last, the ending of this game is actually peak. I will never get over it, and I love it to the oblivion. It's the perfect ending to this amazing franchise, and I'm glad it all ended here with a perfect 6 games, or 7, I guess, including FNAF World. Anyways, S tier. So obviously, the franchise didn't end at FNAF 6, and here we have Ultimate Custom Night. If we're speaking on sheer difficulty here, Ultimate Custom Night takes the cake. The infamous 50-20 mode is easily the most difficult FNAF Custom Night ever. I haven't even beat it yet. Maybe someday? I don't really know. Anyways, Ultimate Custom Night is such a cool game. It has so many amazing voice lines, a bunch of characters who previously didn't have them and finally got their justice. My personal favorites for voice lines would have to be Puppets, Funtime Foxies, Withered Chicas, and honestly so many more. I love them all, aside from Nightmare Balloon Boy. The challenges in this game and the high score system are also super duper cool. If you're not up for the insanity of 50-20 mode, you can always try something quite a bit easier. The only downside to this game is the fact that so many amazing characters weren't included, such as Funtime Freddy, Withered Foxy, Nightmare Foxy, my goats, Pissy Peter, and Bloody Bart, for crying out loud, and a few others that I honestly don't care about that much. But the fact that they weren't included but the freaking Phantoms were, this is like not okay, Scott. Can we talk about this? Ultimate Custom Night was actually the first FNAF game that I was ever able to play, and hear me out on this. I've been a fan since around 2015, but I didn't have a PC at the time and I was like 8 years old, so I wasn't able to play the games. Also, my parents didn't allow me to buy mobile games, so there goes that route as well. Ultimate Custom Night holds a special place though in my heart because of this. A tier. I'm not even gonna lie to you guys, I haven't actually played FNAF AR, but from what I've heard, it's an absolute shit show. I've heard it's pretty much just a cash grab with a bunch of crappy reskins, but also Liberty Chica, and I love Liberty Chica, so no shame to her. The only good thing about this game was like the emails between the employees and finding out about Vanessa, which was nice, I guess. Other than that though, this game was pretty mid. I'm gonna have to go with S tier. If I tried to stream it, it would also dox me, so I'm okay. And it's shut down now, maybe for a good reason. For these reasons, it's gonna go in F tier. Not only was this the first FNAF VR game, but it was also the first Steelwool Studios game. Now, disclaimer, I get so insanely motion sick from VR headsets that I only played an hour of this game in VR and the rest of the game was on my PC with flat mode. So from what I experienced, the VR mode was way better, but I felt so physically ill after playing that I literally couldn't pick it up again. So we're just gonna go on my opinions based on the flat mode because of this. I still really loved Help Wanted though. The introduction of Glitch Trap was absolutely insane, and Glitch Trap is still one of my favorite animatronics to date. The fact that this was a canon VR game from Fazbear Entertainment as well is confusing yet awesome at the same time. I wasn't really fond of the FNAF 1 through 3 minigames, but the minigames that were original to Help Wanted itself, like parts and service, vent repairs, etc., were really cool. Well, obviously excluding my mortal enemy, Plush Baby. The only thing I didn't really enjoy as much about Help Wanted was just the lack of replayability since the nights were exactly the same every time, but overall it's a solid game, A tier. Now, I'm gonna be completely honest, I wasn't even gonna include the Dreadbear DLC in this tier list just because, I mean, it's such a short DLC, but I'm including Ruin, so I kind of felt bad excluding it, so let's talk about it. I think the DLC is cool, but a bit odd at the same time. It's kind of lackluster in comparison to most of the games, which, granted, it's a DLC, so it does make sense. But I do love the fact that you can find Vanny's mask in the DLC, but other than that, there's just not much to the game. I'm gonna have to go with D tier. This will probably be my most controversial take in this video, so brace yourselves. I actually don't hate Security Breach. Crazy, right? So before I had a FNAF channel, I actually mainly posted Roblox and Minecraft videos here, and I made the switch once Security Breach came out in December of 2021. On New Year's, I decided to binge Markiplier's entire Security Breach playthrough that night, and after that, it dawned on me, I can make FNAF content too! I'd always loved this game, but I'd never thought about playing them for my YouTube channel until then. After this, I started using my brother's laptop to make videos until I could afford my own, and the rest is history. Anyway, with that story out of the way, Security Breach truly does hold a special place in my heart. The gap between Help Wanted and Security Breach was also pretty huge, a little over 2 years, which is big for FNAF. I know some franchises are crying right now because there's like 10-year gaps between their games, but bear with me. The hype was growing a ton for this game because of this gap. Like, the Freddy and Friends episodes were airing on Steelwool Studios YouTube along with a few trailers, and when this game actually released, it didn't exactly hit the marks for most FNAF fans. The game was free roam, like very free roam, which we'd never had before in a FNAF game. Animatronics weren't very scary, and there was a nice animatronic.
Way to go, superstar.
There were too many glitches to count and so much more. Although these are all valid pieces of criticism, and I agree with some of them, I honestly still find myself enjoying and replaying Security Breach on occasion. The replayability aspect of Security Breach is my absolute favorite part. As compared to the first few games, where there were maybe 1 to 3 endings, Security Breach knocked it out of the park with 6 unique endings. My personal favorite is the loading docks ending, where Gregory drives away in a car with Freddy. Some of the endings are fairly easy to achieve, like the Leave ending or Vanny ending, but others require you to find secrets or meet certain requirements in order to get them. The Princess Quest and Fire Escape endings are perfect examples of this. It's not only the endings that make Security Breach incredibly replayable though, it's also the sheer amount of collectibles and Steam achievements. There's hidden plushies, hidden messages, hidden rooms, and also hidden therapy discs? I don't really know. I adore all of the animatronics in this game as well. Glimmers are so cool. We'd never seen a futuristic animatronic in the past, so seeing this for the first time was insane. Monty, Roxy, and Chica all have their own unique style and personality. They also have corresponding areas such as Monty Golf, Roxy Raceway, Mazercise, etc. My personal favorite though is Glimmer Freddy, an animatronic that isn't evil and is actively trying to save us. Are you kidding me? He's also just adorable. What can I say? Sun and Moon Ruin are also really unique and are some of my all-time favorite animatronics, and DJ Music Man is absolutely insane. And I think Vanny had so much potential but just didn't quite deliver, which was too bad. Overall, Security Breach is a really fun experience. It's really unique and probably my favorite FNAF game to replay on streams. Also, I forgot to mention this earlier, but the soundtracks in this game are by far my favorite out of any FNAF game ever. Solid S tier.
Gregory? Gregory? You there?
Now, I'm sure by now you guys are probably really fed up with my crappy opinions, but buckle up because it gets worse. FNAF Ruin DLC was actually the first FNAF game I was able to play within a week of its release because I finally saved up enough money for a PC at this point. When the game first released, it was probably in my top 3 all-time favorite FNAF games. I already enjoyed Security Breach, so DLC dropping sounded amazing. I love the environment, Cassie, the Ruin glam rocks, Eclipse, and even the Mimic. I even cried when we had to reboot Roxy. Although the ending to Ruin was sad, I really enjoyed it. Okay, I didn't enjoy Cassie dying, but I thought it was cool. And it was really unique to the story. I loved Evil Helpy and Mixus as well. The AR environment in Ruin is also just so cool and really well done. The mask mechanic in Ruin is also super unique and I loved it. The game was actually really scary too, but still whimsical like the previous game. It set itself up to be the perfect addition to the franchise, but then I decided to replay the game. The horror and anxiety in this game are completely reliant on scripted jump scares. The arcade machine falling, the staff bot, Eclipse grabbing you, the Freddy prototype thingy, the Roxy race car, and so much more. I mean, during the daycare segment, there's no threat at all. Like, Eclipse just stands on top of the structure while you do nodes. The gameplay is also super repetitive looking back. Wow, you're in Monty Golf. Nodes. Oh my god, Phaser Blast now? Nodes. Bunny Ball? More nodes. This pattern repeats in every single segment of the game, and let's just say it can get old. Now, don't get me wrong, I definitely don't hate Ruin, but the gameplay is just not my favorite at all. I'm gonna have to go with a solid B tier ranking because I still do love this story. Now, Help 1 and 2 is another VR game turned flat mode for me because of my motion sickness issues, but let's get into it. From everyone I've talked to, apparently it's way better on VR, but I'm just gonna have to judge it on my experiences alone, so. For starters, it is a prequel to Ruin, but a sequel to Security Breach, and we play as a worker training at the Pizzaplex for Fazbear Entertainment through various mini-games such as the daycare, Bonnie Bowl, food service, Helpy torture time, and so much more. Eventually, we find out it's another trap from Glitch Trap, and all the employees that went to this training were turned into staff bots, and we get hints at the fact that Cassie's dad may be the mask bot now, and also Bonnie Bro from FNAF 4. Interesting. Overall, I really enjoyed this game. The lore and story were super intriguing, and it was actually quite a bit more replayable than the previous Help Wanted game. I really enjoyed all of the mini games, although justice for Monty because poor guy got left out. The Princess Quest segment was also super cool. I mean, you were able to actually be in the Princess Quest arcade, which was so amazing. Overall, I'm gonna have to rank it the tippity top of A tier, but not quite S. 5 Nights at Freddy's Into the Pit. This is the game that we actually got for FNAF's 10th anniversary. The game is an 8-bit style and is based on the first Fazbear Frights book, Into the Pit, obviously. And this game was super good. The amount of endings, Easter eggs, and so much more makes it such an amazing experience to play. We had the mini arenas, the paper pals, a phone to call Freddy Fazbear's Pizza, as well as here the spring lock incident. We also had a super nice storyline with plenty of lovable characters and achievements and difficulties to complete. In Into the Pit, we follow Oswald, whose father was kidnapped by Into the Pit Bonnie, and then Into the Pit Bonnie turned into him in real life, but no one can see him besides Oswald. And then we spend the next 5 nights trying to get our dad back in Jeff's Pizzeria, or I guess previously Freddy Fazbear's Pizzeria, because we use a time-traveling ball pit. It's confusing, but bear with me. I will say, when I first played this game, it was definitely my top FNAF games ever, and I definitely do still love it, but I think I was blinded by the excitement of the release at first. The only thing that I didn't really like about Into the Pit much is since it's so story driven, it again lacks in the replayability department, much like Ruin did. It is still way more replayable than Ruin though, and overall I still love it, so I'm gonna have to go with A tier. Now I'm sure when most of you guys heard I was going to be ranking the Secret of the Mimic game at the beginning of this video, you were confused to say the least. For starters, the only thing the public has officially seen about this game is a mini announcement post from Steelwool Studios, but don't worry guys, I have some insider information. I went to PAX West 2024, which is an annual event in Seattle, so I was able to play the official demo for the game. Now, granted, it was very short, maybe 15 minutes altogether, but I have a fun way that I'll be ranking this game. I'm gonna rank it based off of my first impressions of the demo, as well as my expectations for where the game will rank when it does release. When playing the demo, we get two different options, the manager office and the chase scene. I'm not gonna go too in-depth on the gameplay itself because I already talked about it a lot in my PAX West 2024 vlog, which you guys should totally check out after this video. But essentially, we meet one of the main characters, Jackie. She's a Jack-in-the-Box animatronic, and she chases you throughout the walls and tunnels of the storage facility / office space / factory. I'm not entirely sure what it is, but it's 100% one of those. The chase scene is similar to Poppy Playtime in some aspects, but is definitely not a ripoff. The only similarity really is that the animatronic isn't chasing behind us the entire time. She also peeks through the walls, reaches through the vents, and catches us off guard as we go, which honestly makes the chase much scarier. The game is also in VR, which surprised me so much because it's nothing like Help Wanted 1 or 2. Help Wanted 1 and 2, you play various mini games, but you're like stationary and you're just clicking through different Fazbear mini games, but this game was much more like Security Breach or Ruin turn VR, which was cool to see. The animations in this game were also beautifully done, oh my god. I think from what I've seen and what I'm expecting from this game, it'll be the best Steelwool Studios game yet. I mean, it's a prequel game to everything, where we potentially get to see William and Henry, maybe even Fredbear's Family Diner, and so much more. Sign me up immediately. This game is going in S tier for expectations. I hope you guys enjoyed my tier list of every single FNAF game and also Secret of the Mimic, which technically hasn't released yet. This franchise genuinely means so much to me and I cannot wait to see where it goes. Also, make sure to check out my PAX West 2024 vlog on my channel, and shout out to my channel members. I love you all so much, and I'll see you all next time. Bye-bye!